I know it hurts.
I'm sorry.
This is
Go
not
on.
your fault. All right, you came to the right place, you ding dong. It's called communication, baby.
Tonight we are going to listen to
The Crunch.
The Crunch.
Yeah! It's okay. All right.
The Crunch Catholic Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
They have tens of thousands of listeners across the country. Ethan Stevie is my next door neighbor.
Woo!
He lives here in Oklahoma, obviously, with his wife Emma and his son Peter. And then Patrick is here with us from Florida.
Woo!
He lives in Florida with his wife Phoebe and his son Leo.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really happy to have them here tonight. And every week on their podcast, they have a show called Dr. Ethan's Dating Corner,
Yeah.
where they talk all about dating, and their listeners submit questions, and they answer their questions via podcast. So if you guys have any questions for them tonight, I think part of this is to be fun, to be interactive, to laugh together. Please submit a question. You can text it if you want it to be anonymous. Or if you just want to come up here and ask it on the microphone, that's okay.
Just raise your hand.
If you don't have
Yeah.
your phone, or if you just want to be...
We'll put you right between us, like the cream in an Oreo. But we're the cream, and you're the Oreo.
All right, without further ado, The Crunch.
All right. Give it up for Ray, everybody.
Yeah.
She did so
Thank you
great.
to Ray and Kendra.
She remembered my wife and son's name.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And she remembered that she's my neighbor.
She
is
remembered.
nice.
She remembered where she lived.
Yes.
That's always handy.
In today's society, it's a difficult thing.
Yeah, we're so fractured with our phones.
Well, and everybody's on prescription drugs.
Yeah, everybody's doing every. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about dating today, and it's easier to hear us. We tried to make it so you can hear us all the way back there, but there's plenty of room in the front. So if you would like to take
there's some chairs up
seats
here. These are all really fun. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people up here. You don't need to be afraid. I don't bite people anymore.
We got him a collar that fixes that.
Yes. We should say something about our credentials in terms of dating.
Gotcha.
Not for us personally, but how we've helped other
Okay,
people.
yeah, not just I'm married.
That's really cool.
Yeah, any
No.
idiot can get married,
Yeah.
as we've seen.
Yeah.
So we started doing a podcast like 7 years ago. Our first episode was about
2016.
dating. 2016.
Yes.
Amazing how the world has changed, right?
Yeah.
And we started doing a podcast. So our first episode was about dating, and then years later we were like, let's just start answering questions. So we answered a dating question at the end of every episode. Our listeners loved it so much, we just made it its own show.
Yeah.
So now every Wednesday, we answer 3 to 4 questions from our listeners who are hopelessly in love and
Yes.
also very bad at dating.
Mm-hmm.
And we help them every week. And we've had, since we've been doing this for so long, about 7 years, we have an impressive track record.
Pretty good track record.
We are responsible for several marriages and at least 2 babies.
Yeah.
Not ours. Not our babies.
Yeah. In addition to our own kids. And it's not that it's like because of us they got married, but people asked us questions at particular points in their lives or their relationships.
Yep.
And because they followed our advice,
They fell in love.
they got married, they had a baby. One guy came up to us at the Focus Seek conference. I don't know if you guys know about Focus, but it's a college ministry. But there's a conference that they do every winter, and a gentleman came up to us. We were podcasting on a trash can at the time.
Yeah.
And he came up to us and said, "You guys are the reason my wife is pregnant." And we said, "Hold on. Let me get my lawyer on the phone before you say anything else."
We're going to start playing Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. That song's about a woman who's claiming that a child is Michael Jackson.
This is a Catholic.
That was also not. This is not a that's a generational. Like
I know.
There's not.
This is not a Gen
Apparently,
X
I'm
group.
80 years old.
We've all known that. But there's a few ground rules. Ground rule number 1: if you meet your spouse because of this event, we get to DJ your wedding.
Yeah.
That's a rule.
And Ethan is also allowed to play at least one German EDM song.
Yes.
Electronic dance music.
Yeah, and I get to control when I play it. So it might be during your first dance. It might be during your mother-son dance. You won't know.
It'll be a surprise.
It's a surprise, as the Germans always are. Rule number 2, Actually, that was the only ground
Have
rule.
fun.
That's the only thing.
Have fun.
So we had some people write in some questions. Patrick, I need you to vamp while I pick a first one.
We are I was told to talk about masculinity and femininity. I'm going to pivot into that real quick. A lot of these questions, I learned something today about men and women. I started by saying, hey, if anybody has any questions, holding up my phone number at a singles event, which is a funny thing to do. Or my friend's phone number, rather.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, if any questions? And people were very, very slow to
They looked
answer.
at us like we were aliens.
Yeah. And
Like, how you think we would have questions at the Catholic Young Adult Dating event about dating? No.
I came here because I have everything figured out. What are you talking about? But when I started saying, if you have any complaints about the opposite sex, and people like whipped
Whoa,
out their
that's
phone,
all
they're
right.
like, here we go.
I got a lot of things
Here
to
we
say
go.
about women. It's like, hold on, sir.
Yeah.
This is not your anonymous Twitter account. You
And
can't say whatever you want.
and we live in an age where it's kind of, it's not always okay to talk about the differences between the sexes. But we all have there's universal problems that men and women of all cultures face. For instance, why does he keep trying to fix my problems? I just want him to listen. Or why won't she let me fix her problems? She just wants me to listen.
Yes.
Why does that happen for everybody? It's because men and women are different, and
No.
we're probably going to see. Yeah, it's crazy. It's actually probably the best thing about us is that we're different from each
Yeah.
other. So we're going to be talking about those differences today and how we can overcome them in a Catholic way. How we can communicate better with the opposite gender, and then hopefully get married and have babies.
Have babies.
Is
Well, imagine if we were all the same now, and everyone was like men.
yeah,
It'd be great.
yeah. You think so?
Until it wouldn't be.
It would
anymore.
either be
Yeah.
more wars.
We have first question. You can, if you want, at any point, as this is your question,
Yeah.
you can like,
Elaborate.
yeah, if we're like going in
Yeah.
the wrong direction.
You're like, that's not what I want to do.
but
talk
then
about.
you'd have to reveal yourself and that might be scary.
There's a little bit of
So-
gamification here.
I know.
You know.
Is it bad to want to be able to go on a date or have a conversation with a Catholic man that is not theological all the time? Having deep conversations are great, but sometimes when you go to a Catholic event later in the evening for community, that's all anyone talks about. And it's hard to have the brain power for those conversations all the time.
All right, the dynamic of the evening just shifted. All the guys were like, crap. Oh, no, I already did. I was talking about the Roman Empire.
It's the
Topical.
it's the SpongeBob meme, and the guy's going through all the files in his head. It's just
What
a
was
bunch
I
of-
gonna do?
It's just a bunch of G.K. Chesterton books. He doesn't know what to do. He's freaking out.
Maybe I could talk about cigars. Wait.
Cigars, whiskey. I don't know. It's okay.
What do you think about that?
Man, I think this is a little bit of a both issues.
Look at you talking about Catholicism.
I know.
Both and.
Both
baby.
and. I think gentlemen maybe sometimes get into the deep theological things,
Yeah.
especially at a place like this because it's safe, right? When we're Catholics, if you're Catholic and you're here, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. Glad you're here. But if
Welcome.
you're Catholic and you're out in the world and you got a job and you're driving in the road and there's and there's people out there, it's a very hostile world.
Yeah.
Like people are making fun of the Pope on SNL. It's scary out there.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. And so it makes sense that when someone is here in a situation like this, they would want to express
Sure.
their love, their thoughts about the faith, because they might not have anywhere else to do
You
it.
have so much in common with me. We
Right.
both
We
go to Mass.
We both believe in the sacraments. Like, that's really exciting.
yeah.
And so you can understand, so from the woman's perspective, you got to understand that, like, guys need to feel like they're a part of something.
Yeah.
They got to feel like they have a community, and you just might happen to be the outlet for him to feel that in
Yes.
that individual moment.
He's been storing up all of this
Energy.
energy, this
Yeah.
kinetic energy, this
He's been
potential
working.
energy.
He's been working in an office that's designed to crush his masculinity all day via fluorescent lights and LED screens.
And in between sending emails to Carol about the quarterly report, he's like
Yeah.
thinking about theology, and he's like, I gotta
He's like,
tell
this is
someone."
really important.
And because he lives alone, he's like, I can only talk to my dog, and this is ridiculous.
There's only so
he's-
many times you can watch The Young Pope on HBO before
Yeah.
you start to get a little freaky in the head.
And then he goes to Reddit, and that's just a
It's not good.
whole nother big bag.
So you gotta understand, that's where men are coming from. Fellas, there's an issue here. The women on the whole, I love my wife, and you love your wife too. They don't care.
They don't
care.
They super
It's
don't.
like, it's not that they don't care about theology, and you might be listening to us being like, well, of course you should care about theology. It's the most important thing. It's not. Like it's
Yeah.
it's important in like how breathing is important.
Yes.
But like if you always talked about the operation of your lungs, it'd be like, what
It'd be a little frustrating.
What are you talking about?
If you always talk about how it's important to breathe through your nose, so you use mouth tape.
Yeah.
You hear about this?
No.
They have mouth tape
Nobody
now.
knows about the mouth
She gets
tape.
the ads on Instagram. She's like taping up her mouth.
Yeah.
People tape their mouths now.
I've seen that. I've seen the AI edited Joe Rogan videos where
Yeah.
he's like, I then tape my mouth up, and then I sleep so well.
Dude, we should promote our podcast that way.
via using
Joe Rogan. Yeah.
AI.
Yeah, it's probably illegal, but like,
No.
they haven't made laws yet.
What's he gonna do? Sue us?
Yeah, Joseph Rogan would never.
John Rogan.
He would just beat us up.
Yeah, but so what do you think about it? Do you think I'm wrong?
Yeah, I think guys tend
Do you
to
think
get
that it's
heady like
important,
this.
or do you think women don't actually care?
I don't know. My experience with my wife has been similar, where it's like, I don't want to argue about this. I'm like, oh no, I'm not arguing.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking through ideas, and I want to like hear what you think about it.
Right.
But that's not what she wants
But
to talk about.
sometimes it can be read from the woman as like an aggressive, like, I'm stating my opinion and it's a correct opinion, and
you
have
better-
to
yeah.
you have to agree with it and have thought about it right now or else.
Yeah.
And like that turns women off in a big way.
Yeah.
I've found.
She wants you to talk on a first date, especially. She
Yeah.
wants you to talk about yourself.
Yeah.
Nod, ladies, or shake your head if I'm wrong. This is what we're going to be looking for.
I know.
She wants you to talk about yourself. Wait, no, that's wrong. She wants you to listen to her talk about herself.
Yes.
There we go. I figured it out.
Yeah.
You got to have like a connection. She can talk about theology with anybody.
Yeah.
You know, she can just listen to a Father Mike Schmidt's podcast or something.
Right.
She can just listen to Bishop Barron. Boy, howdy, can he talk? All right.
I think that's good on that. Is there any other whoever asked that? Did we cover everything?
Thoughts?
Any other questions on that? And when we end a question, you can always jump in if there's more that you think we need to say.
Yeah.
Or if you disagree with us, especially if you're a man and you want to state your opinion fiercely. I need you to vamp again.
Okay, but remember, folks, fellas, there's someone here tonight that does not want you to talk to them about
Okay,
theology.
I just got one that came in that I think we need to address immediately.
Yeah.
Should you have the sex talk on the first date?
No!
No! What are you talking about?
No!
No!
They already know how it works. You gotta tell them.
Hey, Patrick.
Oh, you meant like... you sit down.
So-
All right, here are your breadsticks. I'll take away back. Take your order. So when a man and a woman love each other... Very much. Here, let me take the breadsticks. I'm sorry.
We don't need to do live diagramming. Yeah, it's like, no,
Of course
not.
don't have the sex
Of
stuff.
course not. Like,
The concern here might be that you're on a date with someone who maybe does not share the sexual ethic of the average, well, perhaps the correct Catholic.
Yeah.
Let's say average. but
right, the average Catholic does not have the proper
Maybe
sexual
it's to gauge the situation, right? If you think you might be on a date with a person who is expecting sex on the first date, look inward first. How did I get here?
Yeah.
And then if you don't think you're on it, why am I here?
Yeah.
Right? How did I get here? And then if you're
Record scratch. You might be wondering how I got here. That was awkward.
And then if you you don't think you're on a date with someone who would expect that, then you don't have to have the conversation. You're good.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I
don't. Yeah. I think it's good to have a well-formed. You need to know what you think and know what you're going to say. But on the first date is not for anything. Like, you can talk about your dreams.
I want to
you can talk about your
get a
ideas.
temperature check. Everyone,
Yeah.
close your eyes.
Oh wow.
Raise your
Please.
no one look. Everyone, raise your hand if you've regretted not bringing up sex on the first date.
Yeah.
Open your eyes.
Open
no
your-
one
nobody
raised their hand. So even the person asking this question was like, that was wrong.
Yeah.
I guess I should have brought that up. All right.
Yeah. Even just saying it, it's like, what
Yeah.
what is there to talk about? You know, there's nothing to say.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's
Good question. Thank you.
I think even just okay. All right.
It brought up some a way to vamp or to clown a little bit. That's what we like to
Hey,
do.
Patrick, this one's about us. What was the most embarrassing thing that happened to y'all during a date?
During a date?
Yeah, during a date.
Where should I begin?
I've got one.
Yeah.
When I was in college at Kansas State University, home of the Wildcats.
Emaw,
baby. Anyone? Rats.
I only know that
know.
because I'm your friend.
I know. It's a hard life living here. It's like being a Catholic out in the world on the streets.
Yeah.
I'm persecuted all the time for my beliefs. So I was a student at K-State, and there was a girl that I liked. She was taller than me, and it's not relevant. It's just an important fact. But
It is. It is relevant.
It is relevant. But we were
Short kings.
we met through mutual friends. So my roommate's girlfriend, this girl was her friend, right? So we
Sure.
kind of met through my roommate and his girlfriend. And I was in a fraternity, so we'd go to parties, and I would see her at parties. And one time, this is not a bad advice, but we were in the car,
Yeah.
and I kissed her before she left the car. And then I was like, well, I shouldn't have done that. But that was like feeling.
But it happened.
It was, what?
That's good. Did she let you kiss her?
Oh, yeah. It was,
Okay,
it was,
that's good.
It was a great,
On the mouth?
on the mouth.
Oh!
I know. A little bit too on the mouth. So it was, so I felt guilty. I had the
How
Catholic
much
guilt.
on the mouth?
The Catholic guilt kicked in. And I was like, I should probably ask her out. Like, I probably shouldn't just kiss her and then, like, move on. Or just never say anything. Like, I was like, I should.
Yeah, you shouldn't
I should do the right
ghost her.
thing. So we went to Noodles and Company. And mac and cheese was delicious. I paid. It was a great time.
Huge.
And
Noodles and Company.
But the whole time I was like, I should never have kissed this girl because the date was going horrendously. Like, my friends were showing up and they were like taking pictures of me on the date. And like, 'cause I wasn't the guy that went on dates. And I got super embarrassed. And like, we just didn't click at all.
No, yeah.
And it was just all physical. I'm a physical being, you know.
Sure,
And
we all are. Theology of the
so
body.
I get in the car, theology of the body. So I get in the car and I'm dropping her off. And she goes in for kiss number 2.
Whoa!
And I went. I swerved a girl taller than me.
Dude.
It's on my resume.
Dude, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's
So that
hard.
was pretty, and even like, I felt it. It was like, all of a sudden the temperature decreased.
Man.
Like, it was negative. It was absolute
Cold.
zero.
Did you ever talk to her again?
No.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Sorry, Caitlin Sabert, if you're out there.
Don't worry, our podcast isn't that big. She's never
No,
gonna
it's
hear
not.
this.
She'll never hear it.
Although apparently, never mind. Yeah. I mean, I had some awkward dates. I mean, like there was this girl that I was like talking to. I learned that I was a high school youth minister, and I learned that talking to is like a stage in relationships. So I guess I was talking to this girl. We were at Universal Studios.
Oh, in Florida.
Yes, at Rock
Home
Beach.
of Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey
Yes,
Mouse,
we were at
yes.
Universal Studios, the enemy of Mickey Mouse.
Oh.
Mickey Mouse.
Is that the one with Homer Simpson?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's
I like
Homer
that
Simpson
one.
and the
Yeah.
Harry Potters, and so we were
Yeah.
there, and I
Incredible
had
Hulk.
been taught to ask questions, right? Communication. So I said, "Hey, can I hold your hand?"
Ooh.
So like I asked. I didn't want to go for it and then get rejected. Maybe I should have just gone, but she was very upset that I asked. She was like, "It's really weird that you asked."
Oh, no.
And then she held my hand.
Wait, what?
Well, it's like looking back, I'm like, that was rude. That was a
really
weird thing to do.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really want to hold your hand. It was the coldest hand.
Oh.
Like
Was
it
she
was
claiming?
warm because it was Florida in the summertime,
Sure.
but it was so cold. It was emotionally cold.
Oh.
I gotta tell you some stories about that later.
Sometimes you hold a girl's hand and she like doesn't hold you back and you're just kind of like in the fingers. You're
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what's
You
going
know,
on?
like, what's
Let's
happening
stop.
here?
The first time my wife and I held hands, we were walking down a hill.
Yeah.
And so we were like naturally swinging, but we
Yeah.
were both so nervous that we were swinging very aggressively.
Yeah.
Like I remember it. It was impressive how much we were swinging.
Yeah.
But that was
You
fun.
threw your wife down the hill like a discus.
Indeed, I did.
That's
Got some distance.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
This one's good. We can lean in more into the theology of the body aspect, which is why you're all here.
Yeah.
Because I think this is good. This dovetails.
Ah, good. I love when things
I love a
dovetail.
good dovetail. Any advice for men to make the first move / pursue a woman? It seems like a lot of good men nowadays are a bit nervous to open up and initiate with a girl.
Well, yeah. That's just ladies. That is every woman is experiencing the same thing.
Yeah,
So you're
welcome-
this is the question we
Welcome
get
to
from
the
women.
freaking show, dude.
This is the question we get from women the most.
The most.
How do I know if he likes me?
Yeah.
And we also get that same question from men. How do I know if she likes me? The cool thing about that is
You can just ask.
you can just ask.
You can just ask.
You can just ask the question. How does anybody know anything about anyone?
Right.
But
or
this
anything
is-
about anything.
Yeah.
Really. Wikipedia.
Yeah. This is the reason I don't quite know what it is why guys don't make the first move.
It's because they're scared.
It's because they're scared. It makes sense. You're freaky. You're a whole nother kind of person.
Yeah.
We're very used to our own kind of person.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of risk, and the guy's built this up in his head.
Yes.
You know, the longer you wait to ask the girl out, the taller she becomes.
Yes.
The bigger the risk. That's why you gotta ask a girl out right away.
Yeah.
Just be like, I think I like her. Dinner, coffee, just right away. Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And
Because if you don't do that, then you're ruminating.
yeah,
And you're like, what if we got married?
and it's like
And
then,
it's
you're,
like-
then you're overthinking
And
it.
she's not thinking about you. She's making pasta at home. Like, she's doing her own thing. And you're like, our kids would have red hair. And it's like guys do this. You
Yeah.
don't have to shake your head and admit that you do it, but guys do this.
You do this.
And girls do it too, but I think differently.
It's
actually.
different.
It's
yeah.
different.
It's different.
Because there's like, what if we? I don't know what women think actually about that.
I don't know if guys go right to the kids thing.
I think guys go straight to the what if we live together and we're married and we're together all the time.
Yeah, I think that's what guys go for.
Type beat.
Yeah.
But I think there is a need for women to allow men the space to initiate that maybe culturally men should take the initiative on their own, but because of how addicted everyone is to everything and how scared everyone is of everything and how much anxiety, we're all on anxiety meds in one way or another. I'm not. You might be.
I might be.
But everyone's anxious all the time. So I think.
Do you mean meds that make me anxious? Because I drink a lot of coffee.
I know, caffeine. I
start feeling my heart now. Do you ever feel your heart?
I did today when I was doing deadlifts. I almost passed out.
Weird flex.
Well, not really. I was deadlifting like 75 pounds. That was not very much. But I think women have a unique opportunity to. This one weird trick can help you. This is the golden question.
We talked about this with a couple of girls that were lined up earlier. We were like, we need to tell you guys the golden question. So, ladies, if you are feeling this, guys, we can't fix the guys. The only thing the guys can say is, hey guys, just ask.
You have to take the initiative. If you're a guy, it's very simple. You have to take
really
the initiative.
Helps. Yeah. The only thing that can help you is if you're in a long-term relationship and you get broken up with, and then you realize this is what happened to me. I was like, oh, asking a girl out and getting rejected is nothing compared to what I just experienced.
Compared to the pain and suffering of losing a high school girlfriend.
Yeah, the pain and suffering of losing a high school girlfriend. But ladies, if you write this question down.
Write it down.
If you are trying to figure out a guy's been talking to you, you're like, I think he likes me, but he hasn't said anything.
Like he's talking to me all the time. He's texting me. He sees me at events, and we're talking all the time.
He sits really close to me. Movies.
We touch knees every once in a while. It's weird.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so there's like getting flashbacks.
Yeah.
So the question is, are you going to ask me out anytime soon?
Or should I just move on?
Boom.
That's the question.
Ask that question.
Ask that question.
Ask that question.
Because when men hear that question, it'll kick their ass into gear real quick.
But it allows them
to take the
action
initiative
and still say they did it.
Right.
And still actually get to do it. Right.
Yes.
Because you don't want. He's like, no, I wouldn't want you to ask that question.
Well,
go for it. Say it.
Speak now.
Speak, my friend. Speak now. Fearless.
So someone over here
Oh.
said, hey, that could be rude. I said, I don't think so.
Oh.
Someone said it would be. Good news, Ethan.
Tell me.
Some of our listeners have already started downloading the Gather app.
The Gather app
Which
that's sponsoring this
means-
episode of the Crunch Catholic Podcast?
Yes, which means statistically speaking, you are more likely to find someone who shares your taste in podcasts and is probably highly compatible and also very intelligent, good sense of humor, etc. So you should probably go to comegather.app. What was it? Comegather.app now.
There you go.
Thanks. I almost said .app.com, but it's just .app.
It's really just
app.
comegather.app, and you can download the app that is sweeping the nation. And by the nation, I mean the audience of the Crunch Catholic Podcast. Lots of people have downloaded it. They've shared their feedback with us. Some people are swiping, they're meeting, they're matching, and you could be a part of this. The Gather app is different than a lot of other Catholic dating apps out there. First of all, it's free. And I can't think of a better selling point than that. Right.
You don't have to pay anything to download it or set up your profile. Just go do that.
And the best thing about it is that it makes it easy for single Catholics to meet each other. There could be someone in the parish across town that is perfect for you, but you would never know. You would have no clue.
Because you're not on the app.
Because you're not on the comegather.app.
And this is, we say this, this is the advice we give on Dr. Zane and Corner all the time, right? It's like, you say you're looking for a spouse, right? It's like, all right, look, say you're looking for a spouse. You got to put in some, if there's an app out there, you got to be on it. You never know. All right. Check the app. This is a new app. I sound like Donald Trump is what's happening. I'm talking like Donald Trump. Do you feel that?
Do the rest of the ad like Donald.
Nope. I was like prepared for it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. They can't make me. You know, they said, Don, you got to show up in Georgia. You got to. We can't do an arraignment joke in an ad, can we?
I don't think we can do anything.
We give advice.
I just want people to
on
go
this
to
podcast.
comegather.app.
We give this advice on the podcast all the time. All the time. If you want to find your spouse and you're not on the apps, you need to get on the apps. And the best place to start is comegather.app because 80% of users are like daily mass Catholics. It's not like an app full of people who like kind of are church teaching, kind of, you know. You might get a few, swipe them away. Go find the 80% that are daily mass goers. Meet the daily mass Catholics. Find your spouse.
This is the place to be. The Gather app is the next big thing in Catholic dating. The first big thing was the Crunch Discord. That maybe has run its course. But I think if you can migrate from the Crunch Discord, from our little community to a community where you're meeting other people, the Gather app is the best place to do it. So go to the comegather.app, download it, make a profile, and just try it out. You never know unless you try. Thank you so much to Gather, the Catholic dating app, at comegather.app for sponsoring this episode of the Crunch Catholic Podcast.
Get to smooching. Rude.
Why wouldn't it be
He says,
rude?
I don't think so. Why wouldn't? Do you want to come on the podcast?
Do you want to come up and share?
Okay, he does not want to come on the podcast.
I will talk to you from here.
Okay.
So I wish that happened once or twice in
Yeah.
the sense of I'm here where like your what is it called, mac and cheese story? Where
Yes,
you're macking
Noodles and Company. Yes, macking and cheese.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Like, should I continue on with more
Macking?
social events?
Oh,
Not macking.
okay, yeah. Usually no, but yeah.
No macking.
Or am I wasting her time?
Right.
Sure.
Because it's the in between where it's that lukewarmness. Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know what vibe we're getting, but I
Yeah.
feel like there's something, or maybe it's just we're just gonna friend zone each other.
Right.
So if the women ask this question,
Yeah.
again, tone matters.
Tone matters.
Tone does matter. If you,
Then
yeah.
friend zoning could occur, or you actually enter past the talking stage. And I
Exactly.
would rather
Yeah.
have that deliberate conversation than it be the automatic friend zone.
He rathers the deliberate conversation than the automatic. Just
Yeah.
we're just friends. We're
Yes.
just friends. This has worked. This question has worked for many.
Dozens
it is
of times
also,
this question has worked.
Because you either get a yes or a no, or you get a I actually am not ready yet. You're raising your hand. What's your name?
Emily.
Emily. Hello.
Emily, what's up?
Hello.
Hey.
The Mystic Woman from earlier. We talked about a book.
So I don't know about like a lot of ladies here, but I've gotten to the point where it's just you feel like you're wasting your time.
She feels like she's wasting her
especially
time.
men,
Yes.
And like you don't want to waste your time.
No,
So, like,
we all are in this mortal coil, and one day we will perish. So, like, get on with it.
Well, I've had guy friends where like they act that way, you
Yeah.
know, and you're like, okay, am I reading this like where he likes me? Is he not? So I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, are you gonna ask me out? Are you gonna ask me on a date?
You've done this.
You've done this. You had
Has it
experience.
worked?
Did it work?
Very quickly.
Oh!
Exactly when, like, if they kind of dodge the question, you'll be like, okay,
All right, we're good.
Wasted my time.
Yeah.
We're just gonna be friends. That's it.
Moving on. Yeah, I
Right.
like it. It's
And they
great.
kinda forget about it.
No harm.
Exactly.
No foul. Because the answer can be no. That's the thing. Is it's not aggressive. It's not. Hey, like I've heard some girls do this. Like, hey, I like you, and then just put. That's fine. Do that if you want. But this like
That
gives
doesn't.
him.
That doesn't do anything. That just puts more. Adds pressure to the pot.
Yeah, because he's like, oh no, now I feel like some romantic gesture.
Right.
It's
I
like,
got to do the boombox outside the window.
I got a boombox.
Yeah.
I gotta do it.
Don't you
Forget
about me.
Don't.
All right.
Yeah, so we don't want to do that, right? We want to give the guy some like it gives him the permission because some guys I don't know if they feel like they have permission to ask girls out. Do you guys feel like you need permission to ask a girl out? Like it's a permission to cross the street from your mom? Do you ever have that experience? Okay, maybe I was the only one who experienced that. It's like a transgression. You know, it's kind of like when you don't want to ask for an extra spoon at a restaurant. You're like, I don't want to bother her. I don't want to mess with.
But I think, am I wrong? I could be wrong here because I'm pretty stupid. But theology of the body,
Yeah.
men
Uh-huh.
built
to
initiate,
indeed
and women built to
receive.
This
This is one way to consider the theology of the body.
one
yes.
way. I don't
Yes.
know the other ways,
Uh-huh.
but I do know that way.
We could talk about those other ways.
You can.
I would.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to get into it.
We probably not right now, but
Not right now, no.
But I think that's important to remember that like this whole idea of men should, because if you're a guy and you're afraid to hear that question, because I'm like part of me, if I'm thinking about that, I'm like I don't really want to hear that.
Yeah.
Like it's not rude, but it's like I'd rather cut that off at the pass.
Mhm.
That means that you have to know what you want,
Mhm.
be discerning,
Mhm.
and take action.
Mhm.
Because I think that's and like take initiative, and it's not just initiative like opening the car door for her
Yeah.
or like picking the place for the restaurant. It's like you have to decide the type of person that you want to be and the type of relationships that you want to have, and then choose those. And as soon as you know, like if you know what you want with a certain girl, or if you know you want to get to know someone,
Mhm.
and the longer you take to like not do that, then you're forfeiting your masculinity.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
you're just sitting here in this like stage of potentiality but no actuality. Like you're
Mhm.
just sitting here like I could do something, but I won't. And that's just like not how to live.
It's not making things
Right.
happen. Yeah, because it's not even just a dating thing either. I don't know if you've experienced this or our one married couple's experience if you've experienced this, but it's like when my wife has done this to me, like, are we gonna go on a date
Right.
soon? Like
Yeah.
she actually asked this question to me, like, are we gonna go on a date? It's not like
Yes.
it's not we're gonna go on a date and we're gonna go to I don't know what's a local restaurant.
Applebee's.
The Chicken Shack.
Okay. The Chicken Shack, Arcadia, Oklahoma,
Route
baby.
66, baby.
Uh,
Yeah, we're not Applebee's.
This is
It's in the neighborhood.
This neighborhood grill.
Yeah, like it's like it's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be the one who like makes these decisions and acts. You know, it's someone.
Yeah.
The way one of my married friends described, she's like, what I want to do is I want to not make the decision. I
Yes.
want to not. Like, I just want to eat where you want to eat. What I want to do is not make the call.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Men are so afraid to be wrong that they just make the woman choose, and then it doesn't work out. Because
Yeah.
women are like, I'd just rather not choose.
I'd rather not choose.
And then they move on to someone else. For just someone who will choose. Like
Asterisk. Painting with broad strokes.
painting with
et
very
cetera.
like these are generalities.
Please don't record this. Put it on Twitter. I have a family.
But I think like also not even in like taking your wife out on a date, but
Yeah.
things like making the decision to make a plan about helping my son sleep better at night.
Sure. Yeah.
Like we kind of sat in this in-between stage where like we were just kind of doing something that wasn't really working. He was waking up a lot during the night, but when Emma was like, "This isn't working. You're not helping me," because she has to feed him. You know, she's got
Yeah.
she has that. She does that
Aspect.
And, yeah, aspect of it, theology of the body, and so she was like, "This
She's
isn't
got a
working."
theology.
She just said, "This isn't working," and I'm really upset. And I was like, "All right." So then I had to make the choice of like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to get up with him at this time and this time and this time, and you're going to feed him at this time and this time, and we're going to do this until he gets adjusted to that schedule.
Yep.
And I didn't want to because I liked sleeping in, and I
Sleep.
was just hanging out, and she would feed him, and it would be okay. Like it was manageable the way that we were
Yeah.
doing it. Because I was helping, and she was taking more of the brunt than I realized, and I was just like kind of choosing to ignore it because I was focused on other things, which
Sleeping.
which I shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
Right. And like sleeping or waking up early or whatever it is I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to
yeah.
do. But when I took the action,
Taking ice baths,
I don't know. A cold plunge.
rising and grinding.
So I'm saying this is a skill that if you learn now will help with a ton of variety of other things
Yes.
later on in your life.
Mhm.
Do we have anything else on that? I think that was good.
The active and receptive thing is interesting.
Yeah.
I always wonder how people.
Yeah, what's
quite-
up?
I find it interesting that
Uh-oh.
men are very much like want to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And they're always like afraid of fixing it the wrong way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't have
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I know.
Yeah.
It's because
Yeah.
we're messed up.
We want to fix
We
the problem.
got all these dad issues. We don't know what to do with them.
and then
Maybe that's just
and then
me.
we become dads and we have more issues.
I know.
Yeah, that is an interesting dynamic of men and women. This is something that I've kind of noticed. Men are the active and receptive way, initiating and receiving way is a good way to understand the difference between masculinity and femininity. One other way that I prefer, my preferred way, is the domain of things and the domain of persons. So if you think about the garden, when Adam was created, there were only things. There were no persons. There was just a world of stuff.
Yeah.
And God, right?
Yeah, and he was building forts. And
He was throwing snowballs.
Yeah.
And he was playing. He was racing deers.
Yeah, and he was on the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
hanging out
in the stream.
And then when Eve was created, her entire world.
And she tore down the fort, and she made him.
And she said, "Yeah, go clean up your room.
Yeah.
Go clean up the grove."
Yeah.
When she was created, her entire world included a person, and so if you're a perfect human being and you're faced with the entirety of the world and a person that's made just like you, focus is gonna be on him, and everything else is gonna fall away. And so this, his theologian, his name is escaping me right now. Her focus, her idea of her understanding of a man is that he's focused on the things, his masteries of the things, and Eve's mastery is of the persons. And you can kind of see this in their vocations, right? Like till the garden, fill the earth. Those are the two rules. And men and women are supposed to help each other do these things, right? Like Eve can't fill the earth without Adam, and then Adam can't till the earth without Eve, right? These are cooperative things. But as a man, your job is to become a master of the domain of things,
Master
which means
of the house, keeper of the inn.
You need to make decisive action
Les Mis.
that happens quickly. You need to make decisions quickly. You gotta save the corn from the hail, right? Quickly. And women need to make decisions that are for the betterment of people, right? Not use their understanding of people to manipulate them, but to serve them and help them grow. So this is how I understand masculinity and femininity, is that domain of persons, domain of things.
I think we should do a light question here.
Yeah, it was a little heavy.
That was good, but I liked it.
Thanks.
I think you did well.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Books drop in March 2025.
Okay. Choose one. Man holding fish for Tinder profile picture. Or man who dresses like Jake from State Farm. It sounds like you've had two very unique bad situations happen to you.
Fish guy.
Here's the ladies, I understand the problem with fish guy, but here's the thing about guys. Nobody's taking pictures of them when they look good.
No.
The only time someone takes a picture of a guy is when he's caught a nice
holding a fish.
Trout. Because it's the only time when something cool has happened, or he's holding the deer antlers, right? He doesn't have a fit check with his roommates where he can get a cute pic before mass. You all take pictures all the time because you're like, oh, fun.
My friend on Twitter is doing this thing, and she's posts a picture of herself smiling. She's like, "We're starting our book club tonight." I'm like, "There's no books in that picture. Why are you posting the picture?"
Yeah. Men don't just feel cute, might delete later. They
don't do that. They do that ironically.
It's the reason for the fish pic is because it's an accomplishment, and it's a reason to take a photograph.
How could you not want to date this guy? He's got a fish that's your height. You're the size of the
you're
fish.
The size of the fish. You're 5'0". This trout could eat you, and you're turning your nose up at him.
Come on.
I do have a problem, man, with the Jake from State Farm. You got to work on your looks, guys.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not a huge deal.
It is.
I mean, look how I dress, right?
I know.
And imitate. No, I'm just kidding. There's YouTube channels where they teach guys how to dress.
Yeah.
Dude, you look great.
That guy.
All right, just dress like this guy. No, I'm just
like
kidding.
that guy.
You got to find the fit that works for you, right?
Yes.
If I tried to dress like him, I would look like I'm trying to dress like that guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little tubby, right? I gotta untuck the shirt, right, because it hides my belly,
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're bigger, Ethan, you gotta wear tighter sleeves, you know. You gotta wear tighter sleeves.
What did you say? What are you saying about my arms?
You were talking about this earlier.
Huh?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
You're making fun of me in front of the crowd?
If you were holding a fish, I wouldn't.
Okay. Yeah, it's just I decided that my vibe was just going to be golf polos because it's easy and you can wear them. I wear this pair of pants every day, so it's just figure out what works.
Hey, listen, you wear shoes every day and you wear socks, right? You wear underwear, you can wear your pants every day.
I know.
All right.
I do wear the same pair of. There's another one.
That's
this
math,
one's kind of related, and then we'll swing back. We'll swing back into some other things. This
He's
one,
like, no, don't do
this
that.
one from a guy. This is related. Do women care about looks? I got good news and bad news.
Yes.
The bad news is yes, but the good news is not really.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's kind of hard to explain.
Are you guys?
We are proof that women don't care about looks. First of all,
yeah. I went to a magical land called Franciscan, otherwise known
nobody knows what that is. Here.
Otherwise known as Catholic Match in real life. And Franciscan University of Steubenville, a magical hill where the most
Every
beautiful
homeschooled nerd goes for college.
The most beautiful girls dating guys that look like me. Like very normal
It's
looking
like Timothy
fellas.
Chalamet and Kylie Jenner. Does that hit anyone?
Who's the ugly one in that?
Timothy Chalamet. He looks
You
like
and I have a different taste in men.
I would hope so.
That was one of my kid throwaways.
That was nice. Funny guy. I just like my men to have some meat on the bones.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Ew.
Chris Pratt, Parks and Rec, not Chris Pratt, Jurassic Park. You know?
Oh man, yeah. So it's like, I would see this. This is one of my friends from college would say this. Like, I'm sitting in my office. He had an office that would face the hill. We'd walk up and down. And he's like, I see guys walking down this hill,
Loving it.
and they just look normal.
Yeah.
Like 5, 6 out of 10. Because no guy beats over 7. There's no such thing.
Apparently Timothy Chalamet does. But
Chalamet, he's an 11.
Willy Wonka.
He's off the charts.
Yeah.
And with like the most beautiful woman, and he's like, why is this? Why are these okay looking guys dating these beautiful women? And the answer, I was like, it's because he asked.
Yeah.
It's because he asked, and she was like, yeah, you're kind of cute. I can see it.
Yeah.
And then she gets more attracted to him over time
Yes.
because he's nice and he makes her laugh.
Yes.
And he takes care of her, and she likes him.
He heats
right?
up soup for her when
Heats up-
she's sick.
Yeah, he's always there when she texts. Right, he's like super, he's super respectful of her personal space. He's not like constantly pushing her physically. Right, that's what she wants. And then that guy is like, she's like, I'll never leave that guy because he's the guy that does all that stuff. Right,
For me.
Yeah.
You good over there?
Yeah, that was funny.
What happened?
What was?
I don't know, it's just super relatable.
Super hashtag relatable?
Yeah,
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Benedictine.
Oh, yeah.
He went to Benedictine Catholic match. Actually, no. It's more like the what's the CatholicSingles.com or something. JD. I don't know. It's
Farmers Only.
Farmers Only.
Atchison, Kansas. Come on.
Atchison is weirdly like Steubenville.
Atch
It's
Vegas.
very similar.
What a place.
Oh, man.
Sco Raves.
Yeah.
Am I right?
And guys should be like this too. I think as you grow in virtue, you become like this, where it's like, yeah, the woman that I've like I love and has been with me forever. Like guys get more attracted to their wives.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more natural to women even at the beginning than it is for guys.
I think there are things that you can do and actions that you can take to increase your initial appearance vibe.
Yeah.
So like you can dress well, like we were talking about earlier. You can make sure that you're groomed. You can make
Yep.
sure that you're. And another thing is just like, if you can make her laugh, if you can be polite, if you can be funny, if you can be like a cool, normal person, that increases your chances tenfold.
Yeah.
But if you're like awkward and weird, and on top of that, you're kind of unkempt, and you're like, you look like you don't fit in your clothes, then your chances go down. And so it's not so much about like your genetics and the way that your face is structured.
No.
And your symmetry and all that stuff.
It's certainly none of that. Because
Yeah.
you've talked to, I mean, ladies,
Ladies.
come on.
Ladies.
You guys have all met an incredibly attractive guy, and you talk to him, and you're like,
You're like, oh, his head is full
Oh.
of grass.
okay, all right. Nice to meet you. And you move
Yeah.
on. Right? Like, yeah, you're attractive, but like, okay, moving on.
Yes.
This is how it goes. Guys, that won't always happen.
Yeah.
They'll meet a girl who's really pretty, and she'll be like, I hate America. And they'll be like, you pretty girl.
Pretty,
Pretty
yeah.
lady.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I only think certain races should be able to vote. It's like, you're pretty.
You're pretty. She said that
It's like
with
she
her
could
pretty.
say anything.
And he's
just
fine.
like, yeah. This is not good that men do that, by the way.
It's a bad
What
thing.
we do.
You can train yourself to not do this. It's called virtue.
Yes, and that's a whole other podcast, which we can do anytime at cost. Archdiocese of Oklahoma City in the back. That's a joke. We're joking around. What would be the first step of putting God first when dating?
Good question.
That is a great question.
Saying a rosary before your first coffee date.
Yeah, before you even look her in the eye,
Saying a rosary with her.
kneel before God and apologize for just being there. I think it's easy to. It's one of these things where it's like having a relationship with God should be an important part of your life, but it shouldn't necessarily be something that you jump at sharing with someone until you are in a committed relationship.
I agree.
So like,
Yes.
yes, you pray before your meal if you go out to dinner, right?
Yeah,
Father,
huge.
Son, bless the Lord and these thy gifts. Do that, right? Don't be
Huge.
afraid to pray in public.
Yeah, and throw the purgatory one in there,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
if she doesn't know it, because then you look really holy.
Yes. Just start. Don't.
Big brain strap.
Yeah.
That was a joke for legal reasons.
But first, until you're committed, it's like this needs to be a part of your life. She needs to know that it's important to you.
Yes.
But you can't really share a faith journey with someone until you know them.
You can't really share a spiritual life with someone until you are
Right.
preparing for a shared spiritual life.
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
saying from the jump, okay, we got to start praying the rosary together every night, or
Yeah.
we got to do the Divine Mercy chaplet at 3 p.m. every day, or we got to pray the Angelus at noon every day, or all of the above.
You start ringing a bell. You're like, oh, time for the Angelus.
I know.
Yeah, it's good to I've super never been an adoration date guy. I
Yeah.
know some people are super into that. That's great, awesome. I just I've never had the desire to go to adoration with another person. Even my wife now, we don't go to adoration together very often. We pray. We do our personal prayer time separately and then together later. But
It's one of those things that's more art than science.
Yeah.
Because you have to.
it's
each
kind
person
of the
is.
art of dating.
Whoa! Isn't that crazy?
Actually.
It's named after this.
He said the name.
But as you get to know someone better, you'll know, okay, she maybe has never prayed a rosary, or he maybe doesn't go to mass every Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's okay, then you can as you get to know them, you can figure out, where can we start to introduce these aspects.
Yeah.
If you're further along, or if you're not as far along, or you can figure out, oh, he does way more than me, or she does. It feels like she's way further along than I am. Then you can start to ask, once you've built up trust, hey, can we start to do this together? I'd like to learn this, or I'd like to practice this with you. So it's just, you can put God first, but it doesn't mean that you have to be, Mary and Joseph, walking around floating on clouds all the time.
Yeah, I guess I'll
do
say-
normal stuff, figure out your hobbies, and the way that you'll live out your faith together as a couple, and then hopefully married, will reveal itself over time. Just because you're living together, it will become clear.
Yeah, I guess the way to put God first in your relationship is just to put Him first in your life.
In your life.
Generally.
And then it'll bleed through.
Relationships in the early stages are a lot like just normal friendships.
Yeah.
You don't just meet someone in class on the first day of school hey, we should hang out after this. Oh, what do you do? Yeah, we should go to mass together. It's that'd be a cool thing because we're both faithful, I guess, but that's not really a way to get to know each other. And that's the point of the of dating at the time.
What's your best pickup line?
I don't have one.
I don't either.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
I wouldn't recommend them as a strategy generally.
Are you the Latin Mass? Because you have an extraordinary form. And then
That's good.
the opposite one is, are you the Latin form? Because you have an extraordinary Mass. As it slowly dawns.
Yeah.
Don't get that wrong.
Yeah.
You gotta use it right.
I left my rosary at home. Can I use your fingers?
I left my rosary at home. Can I use your hair?
Oh gosh. Yeah. I don't know. I don't recommend pickup lines.
Are you from Oklahoma? Because you're the only okay I see.
It's okay. He's getting on.
It sounds like you're calling her mid.
He's getting on a plane tomorrow morning at 6:20. He'll be out of here ASAP. Just be charming. Just learn how to be funny. It's the easiest. That's the most advanced strat that I can teach any man.
Yeah,
It's just if you can make a joke, if you can make a woman laugh, even if it's a pity laugh, it's a laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And
Laughing is huge. Yeah.
we've got a few more, and then we'll wrap up, and we'll allow some time for people to
mingle.
to maybe put some of these things into practice. What do we say?
Yeah, we see guys dropping a bunch of just trying to get a girl laugh. They got little Groucho Marx glasses and cigar.
Yeah, they got a little flower that squirts water on their lapel. This is a question. This person sent me 4 different texts. I'm gonna pick one.
That's the best way to make sure your text gets ready.
Say you're past the first date. You like each other.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Huge.
Can you expand on how living out your femininity and masculinity supports the relationship?
Sure.
Can you?
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Will you expand?
I will.
Will you expand? You
Yeah, let me think. So I don't know. I think a huge part of I think the biggest mental hurdle that Catholics can provide the world is when we think about men and when we think about women, the gifts of women and the gifts of men. We think of these things as things to be hoarded, right? These things to be like, I am a man and I need to make the decisions and I need to be the one to fix things and I need to be the one. I'm the woman. I need to be the one that cooks the food. I need to be the one that raises the kids. Like, I'm in charge of the home. This sort of stuff. We can hoard these things. I don't think this is how we're supposed to live, right? Because when you get married, it's I give my entire self to you, and you give your entire self to me. And if you give your entire self to someone, that includes your feminine genius. That includes your masculine genius. So I think we're supposed to teach each other. So you're a man. You're naturally oriented towards things. You generally get more excited about ideas and like concepts and things of the world more than people, right? You're a woman. You're naturally more understanding of people. You read the room better. You're a people pleaser, or you're an overthinker and a mind reader, right? Like these are, you have more social tact probably than a man does because he thinks it's okay to bring up the Roman Empire on the first date, right? This is how men are. Right? We're supposed to teach each other. So I think in a relationship you can like open yourself up to learning from the other person, just from your own perspective, and you can try to teach the other person. Now it's like people can't be taught unless they want to be, right? But I think I became more self-aware dating my wife because she's much more introverted than I am, so I kind of learned from her there. I became much more, I'm a people person. That does not necessarily mean that I am courteous. And so I became more courteous to my wife. I think she became more assertive. She was once offered a really pitiful salary, and I told her, no, stand up for yourself. And she did, and they actually withdrew the offer for the job because she did. But she's like, I'm happy I did that because she was really mad at first. But then later she was like, I'm happy I did that because I stood up for myself, right? So like this, we teach each other these things. Mm-hmm. We have things that we can teach each other. So in a relationship, if you're past the first date, you like each other, you're going to try and learn how to become a fuller person from the other person, right? That's kind of my advice.
Yeah, and that's kind of the theology of the body is like it's kind of about the body, but it's really it's about the human person. It's about the whole person.
Fun fact about the theology of the body: John Paul II never said the words "theology of the body." Yeah. This is an English title for the English translation of the work that was titled "Man and Woman He Created Them." That sort of thing. It's a theological anthropology. He talks about this means a study of human beings. He talks about the body and the soul because these two things are intimately connected. He talks about how the body reveals what the soul is, and bodies come in two kinds. Man and woman. And so, I know, hot take.
Yeah.
But it's real, and it reveals something about the soul. Like your soul is not gendered, but it's like it kind of gets like your body informs your soul. Like you only your soul only experiences the world through a male body or a female body. So like it's kind of shaped by your body in a way. It's like a LaCroix. It's not actually it doesn't have strawberry.
What? What do you mean?
I was going to explain it.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, I was.
You were going to jet right past it.
It's an essence. Your soul is like essenced by by the strawberry.
Yeah. My soul is like someone dissolved a Skittle in a glass of water.
Yeah, your soul is like it isn't masculine. Your soul isn't masculine, but it's masculinized, right? And so like you experience God differently too, right? You experience maybe more the male attributes of God, or a woman experiences more the female attributes of God, or vice versa. And so there's things we can learn about God from each other because we experience the world differently. There's things we can learn about the world from each other because we experience the world differently. I think being open to that from the other person and not thinking of yourself as a complete person in a relationship is a huge hurdle to get over.
I don't have anything. I was a complete person from the jump.
From the jump.
I'm out the womb. I'm walking. I'm talking.
I'm holding my head up.
The doctors are like, give him a degree.
You pop out the womb. You're like, hello, my baby.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. That's exactly what it was like. I was like the frog from Looney Tune. We've got like 8-ish minutes left. We have a few more questions, but does anyone have like a? Does anyone want to be on the podcast? Is the question. And you can ask us a question. We can answer your specific.
We want to do a case study.
A case study.
We want to do a case study. We'd be like, I'm having a problem. We foresaw this. We're like, we can. When we did this at Seek, we had people come up and say, I'm in this dating situation and I
Yeah.
don't know how to do it.
I don't know what to do.
And I thought that'd be a great thing to do here. And then I realized, I was
Yes.
like, that would be a horrible thing to do
I know,
here.
but it'd be fun.
No one would do
Does
it.
anyone-
But the one person who would, I would
be-
respect
oh,
them
it'd
and
be
I would give
amazing.
them a metaphorical $20.
Okay. If
Oh,
there's
yeah,
no,
for real.
if there's no one, this is your last chance. All right.
I have a
We're-
question.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up?
Emily's got a question.
So, as like a female who's super extroverted,
Mm.
Nice.
who's like works in like a very people-oriented job,
Mhm.
who's been told like they're super intimidating all the
Mm.
time, how do you go about trying to find a very masculine man when you feel like you only attract like
Soy boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like like those.
Yeah.
Yeah, those kind of guys. When that's not what at least I want, and my future husband.
It's interesting. Specifically at work or just like in your life?
In my life.
I think people who say that women like are intimidating, it's like they just don't have a frame of reference for like how to deal with a woman that doesn't fit in like the exact mold that they think women should be in.
Yeah.
And so they'll just say, "Well, you're really intimidating," as like a way to deflect like having to deal with that personality as like a thing, you know? So I don't think it's like anything about you. I think it's more so men struggle with certain types of women who are more assertive because really deep down, they know that they should be taking the initiative. They know that they should be more assertive themselves. And so they like get freaked out and then they just dismiss it. And
Yeah.
and then you get the
Yeah, because I reject the assertion that women are supposed to be naturally more like demure. I won't say
Yes.
submissive. That's a loaded word.
It
People,
is.
the biblical.
but you
guys
get
look
what we're
after.
trying to say.
Because like I mean, think about a German grandma. You know, the picture that popped into your head of a woman who has no smile lines. Yeah,
That's what she's like. She hits
that's
you.
a Mexican grandma.
Well, they're all
My
grandmas.
my
all grandmas
son has a
strike-
Mexican grandma.
All grandmas
Yeah.
strike with shoe.
All grandmas strike with shoe.
Yes.
It's a handy weapon.
When my dad was growing up, his parents were German, and when
They stopped being German after the war.
they came to work at NASA, and they was like, we're not.
Never mind.
Yeah, but my grandparents, when my dad was acting up, they'd be like, go get the stick. And he'd have to go get a stick, and they'd just hit him with it.
That's crazy.
No, and he'd have to go get it himself. So the whole time he's like walking, like thinking about the stick,
I gotta get
coming
a
all the way
stick.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
So yeah, I think there's hope for you because German grandmas get married, otherwise they wouldn't become German
Right.
or grandma. So they so there is like there are, but I think he's right. It's like you need to find a guy who'll match your energy.
yeah.
The crackhead energy, as the kids say.
Yeah.
Now these days,
I
I don't
think
know if
it's-
that's a compliment.
Yeah.
I see it on TikTok sometimes.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good thing.
It's one of those
No, it
things where
doesn't.
it's
Never
like,
mind. We're talking
well,
about-
really the fundamental question is how come I can't find a guy for me? It's like, well, it's really not anything that's your fault. It's just sometimes it takes time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure you're putting yourself out there. I'm sure you're coming to things like this. Maybe he's in this very room.
Hello.
You know, if you're a guy that thinks you can handle an intimidating woman,
If you're an assertive guy, raise your hand.
no, I'm just kidding.
There's none here. Sorry, he would have.
Yeah,
He would have raised his hand.
but Emily's sitting right there. If when we're done, you want to go chat her up, feel free. We do one more question.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? Oh, we got someone.
Oh!
Yes, the gentleman.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodbye, guys. Everyone, applause.
Round of applause.
Don't take your time.
Good vibe. You got a good.
Don't rush.
This guy's dressed. Oh, come here.
Come on.
Come here. Sit.
Come on.
Oh, we said this earlier.
Yeah.
Give it up for. What's your name?
Tyler.
Give it up for Tyler. Very brave to be on the podcast. So Tyler, what's your question?
So my question, the latest debate that I've been having with my friends is it okay to ask a girl for her number
Yes. Sorry.
prior to the first date? Like, let's say you're talking on an app. It used to be okay, but
Talking to the mic.
Now the app will get you. They'll they'll be like, do not disclose private contact information until you pay us, right?
well, I was just gonna say the last few dates that I've been on, I've asked the girl for her number prior to the date in case something happens.
Yeah.
And she won't give it to me
Oh, really?
until after the first date.
Oh, interesting.
So what's the consensus?
I think. Yeah.
Sure,
Women-
safety.
women
Yeah, I
just
get
wanna-
that.
Like, if you turn out to be a freak, and then you just have her number. To be fair, women, you can just block the number. But I guess there are ways to get around if you get a different phone number, like a different
Yeah.
phone, you get a
Yeah.
burner, like in The Wire. Anyway, it's not important. So I think it's fine if you like know them in a situation like this, get the number. But I think on the app, I think there's too many freaks out there. And it has nothing to do
Yeah.
with you because you're very clearly normal.
A normal
and-
person.
And cool. I've sat next to Tyler at Mass. He prays a lot, and he's very holy and cool.
Hey,
So,
he's vouched.
I'm vouching right
I just met
now
Tyler tonight.
for
I just
Tyler.
liked his vibe, but he's rocking the polo and jeans and boots.
I know.
He's very Oklahoman.
Yeah.
He's an Oklahomie.
You have any other thoughts on that?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's just a hazard. I think that's just a hazard of the apps, man. But you
Yeah.
got to be on the apps.
Got to be on the
you know?
apps.
You got to be on the apps. We have a sponsor for this podcast, so go listen to the podcast. But we won't do the sponsor here because that would be uncouth. But yeah,
Yeah.
we have an app sponsor on our podcast. Cool.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler.
Appreciate it.
Give it up,
Tyler.
Tyler. He was very brave. Watch the wires, Tyler.
Caroline, did you want to come up real quick? We got 2 minutes left. Caroline, behind you.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
You raised your hand, so
Let's go. Give it up
All
for
right, Caroline.
Caroline. Give it up for Caroline.
you're
You're a podcaster?
Get the hell out of here. This is my time to shine.
What's your podcast
It's a
name?
good question. You're priming me by saying it's a good question.
Yes, it's
All
a
right.
good one for y'all to answer.
Okay.
go.
Okay, so as this was going off her question, as an independent woman who you know,
Who doesn't
Who
need
don't
a
need
man?
no man.
no, but we do need a man.
Oh!
So this is the problem. So I am like very self-sufficient, like take the initiative. How do I let a man lead me, and in what ways do men like to lead?
Men don't like to lead. They're
No,
little
they
babies.
super don't.
I think. Oh goodness. I think for someone like you, the golden question is helpful if you find yourself in that particular situation. But I also think sometimes you have to throw up softballs, right? And if he doesn't hit the softball, like he won't hit the fastballs when they come later.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, for example,
That analogy is actually deeply rooted in misogyny because softball is a women's game.
if you saw me out on the softball pitch,
You would change your tune real
yeah,
quick.
I think I would be.
I was doing a bit. Sorry.
I went to the
the
OU
tenor in Oklahoma just got real low.
No,
They were
because
like, I
OU
didn't
has
know
a
it was
really
that
good
kind of
softball
podcast.
team. OU has a really good softball team, so they like it here.
OU
They're
has a
really
really good
into
softball
it.
team.
But do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Go OU.
no.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you're with him in a situation, I think saying things like if you're texting someone, for example,
Sure.
right? And you see maybe there's like a comedy podcast that you really want to go see. Just in terms of like sharing your interest with him, I'd really love to go to this.
Yeah.
See if he picks up on it, right? This is not the same as like dropping hints, right? But like you're sharing things about your life. Oh, I saw this restaurant on the app, Instagram, and I'd love to try it sometime. You know, like if you're sharing things that you're interested in, a guy who will take initiative, the type of guy that you're talking about, will be able to pick that up and carry it across the goal line. You see what I mean?
Do you have like specific examples of like a guy that has not led you in a way you want? Like, what way do you want to be led?
Yeah, turn it back on you.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like for example, if I like wanted to go do something, I would just be like, "Oh, I bought us these tickets. Let's go."
Right. So,
I see.
so this is the problem.
Right.
It's okay that you're a doer. No, it's not a you problem. It's
No,
just
no.
this is your natural bend. So like
Yeah.
you want to do things, you'll buy the tickets. All right, we're going. But then there's no space for the guy to buy the tickets.
Yeah. And then they get frustrated because they're not being like given the opportunity to be the leader.
Mm.
Right. But so your fear is that if you don't do it, he won't do it.
Yes.
So this is great to end on. This is wonderful
This is
because
great.
this is my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
100 times out of 100.
He's gonna knock
Our
this off.
our catchphrase on this podcast is it's called communication, baby. It's
Called
all about
communication,
communication.
baby.
And so it's actually okay to tell someone, hey, I would really like it if you would take the initiative on these types of things.
Because I'm afraid if I don't do this thing,
you won't do it. That's like an
Yeah.
okay thing to tell someone.
Right? It's crazy, right?
Right.
It's crazy. It's okay to say that.
Right,
you
because
know?
because then that just opens it up and it tells the man, this is what I want. What the hell? This is what I want.
Swear
This is how you can
Hey,
this is
fine.
how you can serve
Very tight
me.
couch.
Because a lot of times guys don't do those things because he either thinks one of two things. One, he's either thinking I'm already serving her and leading her really well.
Yeah.
He has no clue that he's not giving you what you need. Or two, he's just not thinking about it and hasn't even realized that that's like an aspect of the relationship that he needs to have.
Yeah.
So if you tell him these are the ways that you can lead me, then all of a sudden he knows and he can do them.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or do you think I'm dumb?
No, that's good.
All right.
Well, both, but yeah.
Cool. Okay. Thank you,
Good
Cameron.
one. Yay!
It really is all about communication.
It's all about communication, baby.
If you don't, like, this is the last thing that I'll say about dating. Like, if you don't say what you want to the other person, then they will not know.
Yeah.
Fundamentally.
Because they got their stuff.
You can wait for them to ask, and
Yep.
if they don't ask and you still want them to know the information, you can just tell
Gotta
them.
ask. Just gotta ask.
You can
Or
ask
tell.
or
Ask,
tell.
tell.
And
Do ask and
I think
tell.
there's a lot of games that are unnecessarily played because people are like, well, I just don't know what he wants, or I just don't know what she wants, or he won't do this. It's like, man, do they know?
We can talk about
have you communicated?
And for some people, it seems really obvious. Like why wouldn't he know that it's important for me that he does what he says he's gonna
Yeah.
do? That's an obvious thing. But the guy's like, sometimes I say things and I don't do them, and that's totally fine. Like in his brain, it's like fine, but in
Yeah.
your brain, it's like obviously
Right.
duh.
The things that are
Yeah.
obvious to women are not obvious to men, and the things that are obvious to men are certainly not obvious to women. So I just say that, I emphasize that because that's just my experience.
Yeah.
Sometimes things are like, obviously I'm
It's
doing
right
this.
here. It's
Yeah.
obviously
So.
yeah.
All right.
Great.
I think that's great. I'm glad we hit a lot of good points this
Yeah,
evening.
thanks
I think.
so much. Thanks so much for being here and being at this little shindig with us,
Yeah.
learning and
Did you guys have
laughing.
fun? Was it
yeah,
a
give
good
a
time?
real round of applause for Ethan, Dr. Ethan. We really didn't lean into that bit.
No.
We normally lean. So we have a podcast called The Crunch. Every Wednesday we release an episode called Dr. Ethan's Dating Corner. That's Dr. Ethan. I'm Nurse Patrick. I wear a tasteful gown. I'm just kidding. It's tasteful. It's tasteful. We answer your questions about dating. You go to if you guys have Discord, if you guys are young enough for Discord, you go to bit.ly, so bit.ly/Crunch Discord, and you can submit dating questions
And
on our Discord.
there's also a community of like 600 other people your age that listen to our show that talk about Catholic stuff.
Yeah, all the time.
And it's a great online community.
It's a great
that
online
you can
community
be a part of.
of
So,
normal people.
yeah, great. Thanks for being here. Kendra, did you have something that you wanted to say as we close?
Give it
Everyone
up
give
for
a hand
Kendra. Give it up for Kendra. Get your foot off the you raised in a barn.
All right.
Hi, okay, thank you for being here. If you have not validated your parking, please do so now. Just come up here, I'll leave this here. There's a
Don't
code.
forget to validate your parking and your podcasters. Please validate us. Thank you.
Yeah, so we,
Work.